Hey, you guys, welcome to the Listen Bitch podcast with your favorite podcast host and mindset coach, Branden LaNette. This is one of those rude awakenings, okay, because inspiration just isn't cutting it anymore. And I'm not here to sprinkle toxic positivity or motivational fairy dust on your problems here. Like, I'm going to push you off the cliff so you can finally use the wings that you've been too scared to test. I call this season 9. This is the one where Branden has found her voice, and that's, I think, like, life is probably going to get pretty real. And here's what you need to know. I am a potential pusher. I am not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to coddle you. You can think of me as the friend who doesn't just tell you that you're amazing. Like, I'm the one that sees the greatness that you're sitting in front of, and then I'm going to get really pissed off at you when you're not using it. Okay? I just want to help you stop playing small. I want to help you stop making excuses, and I want to help you start building a life that is going to make your soul feel alive. This season, it's going to be messy, but it's going to be beautiful because you have so much God-given potential that you haven't even begun to tap into. So we're going to talk about alignment and not just affirmations. We're talking about co-creating a life with God as our foundation. Okay. Let's go for a life that we don't need an escape from. With me, you're going to get the tools, you're going to get the truth, that abrasive nudge that finally gets you moving. I am starting to open up for guests, you guys. Okay. I missed my podcast yesterday because I was scheduled to meet with a military dog, and I was super excited to tell his story, show notes. I had everything for you guys. I was dying. Guy ended up being a no show, the handler of the dog, because he was out on a call. So we're gonna reschedule. I'll work on that for you guys. But anyway, yeah, it's hopefully it goes a lot smoother with the guests here. Moving on. And I'm just going to go ahead and confess to you guys. Oh my God, I'm trying a new platform tonight, and probably the worst night for me to do this because I have been up since 5 a.m. this morning. I had the greatest time. I was a guest on a Built This Way podcast. You guys need to check it out and follow her. We had a great conversation, and it was like effortless and fun. And next thing I know, it's almost been 3 hours. Like, we recorded forever. And her producer is like, ladies, this is probably going to have to be 2 episodes. So, I mean, it was a great conversation. I don't regret any of the time, but I fell in love with the studio they have. Okay. I just want to say, I'm like, I have to record where you're recording. Like, I can't even explain to you guys. I've been using Zoom, and I feel like everybody knows what Zoom is. But if you have not heard of Riverside and you're going to do a podcast, like, this is great, but it's overwhelming for me. I'm very simple. I like it easy. I press 2 buttons, I go live. If I have to cough or drink some water, I press pause, and I'm in the studio right now. This is my 4th take. I've tried to record 4 times, and like, dumb shit, I can't even figure out, like, where can I pause this for a second? Because I don't edit, you guys, but like, this is a whole editing platform. It's going to be wild. Okay. Another thing that's very cool about this that I think is really awesome about Riverside, and they're not giving me money to say this. And this is my first time here. I may not be able to upload this, and I'm just wasting my whole time with a podcast episode that the world's never going to hear. But number one, I can stream live to any platform. So I think that's very cool. Like, I can stream my TikToks, I could stream Facebook. You guys know how Brandon's been staring into 4 cameras on cameras on any given day. This is going to be like one and done. Like, I'll be able to do it all here once I get all those accounts set up. So yeah, I am stoked about this. I think it's going to be great. And we'll just see. We'll see if I can figure it out. Like, what if I can actually get intro music and I could do really, really cool things? I don't know. We're going to find out. I'm new back here. It's very overwhelming. I will say that. 'Cause, like, I don't, it's just new. So here's hoping I don't have to cough or drink water or do anything that constitutes a pause, because I won't be able to do that. And I don't know where to go from there. Today is going to be kind of like a double edged sword, this podcast here, because I've had 2 requests this week. Okay. Very specific requests. So I am talking to those ladies. And I just listen, like, before I really get into it, I need you to know something. Like, what I'm going to talk about is not going to be comfortable, but I am going to be honest. And honestly, that's what you need right now. Okay. Because I think that so many people have been living in confusion and obligation for so long. Like, confusion is not from God. clarity is. And that's what I want to do in this episode, is just help you get clear. I want to look at what's really happening in relationships, okay? Like calling out patterns that a lot of people tolerate. And then I want to give you that step-by-step roadmap to freedom. Not just walking away, but like actually healing, okay? And rebuilding your life on a foundation that can't be shaken. And this isn't therapy speak. This isn't surface level advice. This is like just the real work, the kind that would change everything if you're willing to do it. And if you're going to put this on God, because without that foundation, like you're running on willpower, baby, willpower burns out. Okay. So take a breath, cozy up. All right. The price of toxic relationships is everything you could have been. Okay. And I know you're probably like, Branden, this is Listen Bitch, isn't it? Didn't you start a new podcast with Will called Both Sides of the Mic? Yes, I did. That episode just went up. Another thing that took a good portion of my day. That podcast is live. I also have a brand new episode up of The Boiling Point, Faith and Fire with Rory. That one was really good today too. There's lots of things going on. So yeah, it is a relationship podcast, but today the two ladies that had episode requests, like their stories were very similar. One is a friendship and one is like an actual relationship. Okay. She's struggling with her man. So it's basically like, it's gonna be very fitting. Okay. But the price that you're paying, there's like an immediate cost when you are in a toxic relationship. Okay. And it's going to be your energy. It is exhausting. And I know you're tired. I know you're tired because you told me you're tired, but you're not the only one. The people listening, I know you're listening to this because you are tired. You are constantly managing, you're explaining, you're defending, you're second guessing, and that mental and emotional bandwidth that you're spending on drama when you're literally walking on eggshells trying to fix what's broken. That is energy you could be using to build something meaningful in your life. And that's going to be your peace. Like, aren't you tired of waking up with that knot in your stomach? Aren't you tired of rehearsing conversation after conversation in the shower and you feel anxious when your phone buzzes? Peace is not a luxury in this space. It's the foundation of everything else. And without it, like you're building a life on quicksand. You are costing yourself the price of self-trust. When you keep overriding your gut instincts to maintain a relationship, you're teaching yourself that your intuition doesn't matter. You stop trusting your own read on any situation. And that erosion of self-trust bleeds into every other area of your life. And these ones, the hidden cost, I feel like, that is really going to destroy you if you're hanging on to a toxic relationship, okay, is that you are normalizing being mistreated. Like, what once would shock you, bitch, it's tolerable. What once hurt you is, oh, that's just how they are. Like, you adjust your expectations down until you're accepting scraps, and then you're calling this sustenance and you're going to defend this relationship to me. Like, those lowered standards have become your new baseline for every relationship. So everywhere you go, there you are. Everywhere he goes, you're going to choose him, whether he has the same face or not. And you are losing your authenticity. You cannot be yourself around toxic people. You guys know this. I don't even have to tell you this. You know that. You're editing yourself, you're muting yourself, you're performing, you're shrinking, you're overcompensating. Over time, you forget who the fuck you actually are underneath everything you've adapted to. Like, you're a shapeshifter. Eventually you're not going to be able to remember your original form. And you're costing yourself other relationships. If you have a toxic friend and they come and hang out with you and your other friend group, you're going to lose friends in your friend group. Toxic people are black holes. They monopolize your attention and they drain your capacity for connection, and they're going to isolate you. Sometimes it's intentional, and sometimes maybe it's not. But at the same time, like, the healthy people in your life are going to get your bullshit leftovers. They're getting your exhaustion. You think your girlfriend is tired of hearing you bitch about your relationship that she has probably, I can't be the first person that could have said, like, run. You think your husband is tired of you complaining about the same friend over and over? Like, you are wearing down everybody. Nobody gets a good version of you. And so these good people are drifting away because you don't have room for them. And every hour that you're micromanaging and spending on toxicity is an hour you don't get to spend on your growth. What goals? What joy? You can't get time back. And while you're stuck in this dysfunction, like life is lifing. Dreams are waiting and your potential's just on the shelf gathering dust. There are soul level costs to this. Like your self worth is out the door. Toxic relationships will make you question your value. Am I too sensitive? Am I too demanding? Am I too much? Am I not enough? And that constant invalidation becomes internalized and you start treating yourself the way they treat you. You're going to lose your hope. After enough of it, like you're going to just start believing that's how relationships are and you become cynical. You protect yourself by expecting less. You stop believing in the possibility of a real connection, of real support, of real love, and you lose your identity. You become defined by your relationship. Your personality organizes around survival. Fawning, fighting, fleeing, freezing. You lose touch with your desires, your boundaries, your dreams. You become a reactor instead of a creator of your life. And then you sacrifice your future. And this is huge. Toxic relationships don't just steal your present. It's literally calling a mortgage on your future. Every year you stay is a year that you're not available for that healthy love or meaningful work or meaningful friendships or genuine friendship. Personal evolution, you're stuck in a pattern that's going to keep you small. So you're paying with sleepless nights and stress-related health issues, and you're paying with missed opportunities because you're too drained to fully show up. You pay with the years of therapy undoing the damage. You pay with the haunting question, what could I have accomplished if I hadn't wasted all that time? Then you've got this compounding interest. Here's what makes it worse, because the longer you stay, the higher the price. It does not. Toxicity does not stay contained. It metastasizes. It affects your work performance, your parenting, your health, your finances, your self concept. And the longer you normalize it, the harder it becomes to recognize what healthy even looks like. And the cruelest part of this is that you don't realize the full price until you're out. Like it's only in the aftermath when you finally have space to breathe that you see how much of yourself you sacrificed, how small you made yourself, how much life you missed while you were busy surviving someone else's chaos. And this is what people don't talk about. The price of leaving feels expensive too. Nobody talks about that. We think it would be so easy. I don't think this is going to be easy for you. I think you're going to go through some loneliness. I think you're going to have guilt. I think you're going to have to grieve this. And it's a lot of unknown. And that's why people stay, because the cost of staying is paid in slow installments. While the cost of leaving, it's like the bill collector's coming and he wants it all at once. So it's not a question. It is not a question that there is a price tag on toxic relationships. The question you need to ask yourself right now, and I know you're like, oh my God, I can't believe she's talking to me. Like, how does she know? How does she know? Are you going to keep paying this price? Every day you stay, the price goes up. Every day you stay, you choose that person over yourself. What would it be worth to get yourself back? If you cut through the bullshit and get to what's really happening beneath the surface, you are dancing around an unspoken truth. Like, you know that bitch is not really your friend. You have known this for a very long time. That is why you put shields up and your intuition has been screaming at you, but you keep overriding it with like obligation, history, and the sunk cost fallacy. I have time, lots of time invested in this person. That is a fallacy. And here's the brutal truth. Time invested is not a reason to stay. And it's insane because that is often the exact reason that we're too afraid to leave. And if this person is collecting people like trading cards, there's never going to be a connection. They're collecting the constant gossip, the performance of knowing everyone, the pot stirring. That is all a distraction from genuine intimacy. It is superficial power. When you know everyone's business, you feel relevant. When you stir the pot, you feel important. When you're the center of the social web, you don't have to face the terrifying question of, if I stop performing, would anybody actually want me? I want to make this very clear. This has nothing to do with you. You have a shitty friend or you have a shitty partner. It's saying everything about them. That person is emotionally unavailable and absolutely deeply insecure. Like, to maintain an exhausting social marathon, because real friendship requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is terrifying. Gossip is always going to be a shield. Knowing everyone is another set of armor. And stirring the pot is going to keep the focus on the outside of them so they never have to look at themselves in the mirror. And I know, like, if you are just waiting for permission to trust what you already know, you're asking, are you my friend? When you already have the answer. This is not your friend, not in the way that you need them to be. And then what's really keeping you stuck is like you want to love her, not because of who she is, but out of who you wish she could be. You're in love with potential. You're grieving the friendship you wanted. You're not dealing with the friendship that you actually have. And when you're putting up the shield, you put it up for a reason because your body knows what your mind keeps negotiating with. You want the answer to why. Why is my husband like this? Why is my best friend like this? Why does she do this? It's probably pain. And none of this is your responsibility or your fault. Probably a history of abandonment, or I would say even invisibility. Probably learned early that being useful or entertaining is safer than being real. I can relate to that struggle. But the most important question is for you to ask yourself, like, why am I still here? And I'm going to guess a combination of things. There's a lot of conflict of avoidant people out here. Leaving feels like confrontation. And I'm sure at one point you were taught that loyalty means staying even when it costs you. Like you're afraid of the gap that she's going to leave in your life. You're carrying the guilt about your shield and think you should try harder. Part of you still hopes she'll change. I know these are all real things that go through your mind. And the fear of, if I leave, is she going to talk about me? That's a scary thing. So it's not about, you know, the truth. You know, it's not about asking, like, is she my friend? It's, is this friendship serving my growth, my peace, my authenticity? Because right now, like, you're spending emotional energy managing a relationship with someone who's too busy performing to be present. You don't have to pinpoint anybody's behavior to make a decision about your peace. Like, you can love people from a distance. You can honor the history without signing up for the future, and you can stop waiting for her to become safe enough for you to lower your shield. The shield isn't the problem. The fact that you need it is. And real friendships do not require armor. If you are exhausted, if you are guarded, and if you're questioning whether the relationship is even real, that is your answer. And the real truth, you know, sometimes people are in our lives for a season. It's not a lifetime. And sometimes we overstay that season because we're more afraid of the ending than the honest and the emptiness. Like, what would it feel like to you if you stopped trying so hard to let this relationship be what it actually is instead of what you wish it was? So if I was going to walk you through the step by step, like, I need you to trust me because everything everything is going to be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. So if I'm going to help you through this territory that you've been avoiding, and my job is to help you see clearly in this bullshit relationship that you're in, then there's actual tools that you need to move forward. And I want this to be something that you're going to commit to. It's very simple. You keep a journal, not the kind where you're processing feelings or trying to figure out what's wrong with yourself. It's just facts. I want you to have a journal of facts. Every single interaction you have with this person, whether it is your boyfriend or your friend in a girl group, I want you to write down what happened, how you felt before it, how you felt during it, and how you felt after. Write down what you gave in that interaction and what you got back. Like, you don't need to analyze this yet. Like, don't even try to make sense of it or not even justify it. I literally just want this to be an observation. We used to do that in science class, right? Like, this is observation, science experiment, testing the hypothesis. You know why this matters though? Because right now you're operating in a brain fog. Like, you remember the occasional good moment and you keep using that to override all the bullshit. Okay. When you document it, you can't lie to yourself anymore. The pattern is undeniable and you're going to see it for yourself in black and white. That data is going to be your foundation for everything else we do. And at the same time, I want you to do what I call like an energy audit. Like, just very simple, take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and on the left side, write down everything you invest here. Your time, your emotional labor, the compromises you make, the stress you carry, the mental space this person occupies. On the right side, I want you to write down what you actually receive. Like, that's the real support, the genuine joy, you know, what's being reciprocated. Where's the peace? Where's the growth? And I want you to rate each side on a scale of 1 to 10, and I want you to see the deficit. Like, really look at it. And if this was a business investment that was losing you money every single quarter, how long would you keep funding it? Honestly, if you had to put real money up on that, that's what you're dealing with here. You are hemorrhaging energy and you need to see it clearly before you can make a different choice. Then, okay, you guys, this is like literally a coaching session. This is Branden brain dump zone, and it's crazy because what's the wildest thing I've done? And that's reopen my coaching business. I have only had 3 10-minute meetings and I haven't found the perfect fit to bring people in. And I'm telling you guys, this is going to be like day 5 of telling you guys, like, I want 3 women who are ready to flip their life and make change, like massive change. So I know it's scary. I know it's scary because you're like, oh my God, she's going to do this for free. I really have to show up. I can't bullshit. She wants a testimony. And whenever we're called to that, it's super scary. But when you hear that, and if you really do feel that fear, that means you need to make this a yes, a solid yes, because I promise I have you. I'm not going to let you fall here. Okay. And while I'm doing a little disclaimer before I finish out this episode and your instructions, I am looking for sponsors for the Listen Bitch podcast. I have incredible social media foot traffic. Okay. So it's like a walking billboard. A walking billboard. I'm going to talk about your shit every episode, whatever you want to pay for. You want me to talk for you once a month? Like, I will promote your business. Okay. So this is going to be someone who can absolutely align, and you get it. You've heard a few episodes. You're here. And don't forget, like, it's tax write-off season, you guys. A fat write-off to sponsor the Listen Bitch podcast. Okay. I need a sponsor. Tell your friends. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write 2 letters. And I really want you to give yourself this permission to go there. And the first letter is from your future self 5 years from now, if you stay in this relationship. And I want you to be honest. Who are you in 5 years? Like, what does your life look like? How do you feel when you wake up, if that is your spouse, if that is your best friend? What opportunities did you miss because you were stuck managing this toxic bullshit? And like, what regrets are you carrying? Don't hold back. I want your future self to tell you the truth about what the choice is going to cost you. And then I want you to write a second letter from your future self 5 years from now if you leave. Like, what becomes possible? Who did you become? What opened up in your life? And what does freedom actually look like? What does it feel like? These letters are not just an exercise. It's a prophecy. Like, you're looking at 2 different timelines, and this is the thing about life, is that you get to choose. You're the writer of your own story. Always. If you've ever read a novel and you're cheering on the main character, have you ever seen at the end of the book where she just cashes out on the happy ending because she's worried about chapter 1, Janie, how they ended up not being friends anymore, or how she breaks up with that asshole in chapter 2, but she found her prince, but she still feels bad? Like, come on, you get to choose. And once you have that foundation, it's easy to dig into why you're actually stuck, because it's not really about this person. It's about what you believe. So I'll ask you some questions, and I want you to answer in your mind honestly, not with what you think you're supposed to say, okay? But like, what do you believe will happen if you leave this relationship, really? And what does staying prove about you? Like, what would leaving mean about you as a person? What are you afraid people are going to think? And I'm asking because there's always a core belief underneath that keeps us trapped. And maybe that it's, maybe you're only valuable if you're loyal no matter what. Maybe it's that leaving means that you failed. Maybe you believe you're supposed to be able to love everyone unconditionally, even when they're hurting you. Maybe you think if you just try harder, it's finally going to work. If you change, we need to identify that belief, because that belief is running your life right now 100%. And until we address it, like, you're going to keep recreating the same dynamic, even in different relationships. And here's what I know. This is what I know to be true about these beliefs. They probably did serve you once. Like, maybe when you were a kid, being loyal or patient or accommodating absolutely kept you safe. But that survival strategy that worked when you were 8 is destroying you at your age right now. So I want you to challenge that. If your belief is that you have to be loyal no matter what, I'm going to tell you the truth. Loyalty to others at the expense of loyalty to yourself is self-betrayal. It is not virtue. If you believe that leaving is failure, I'm telling you that staying in something that's harming you is the real failure. I want you to write new belief statements. You're going to read them every single day until you start to replace the old programming. Your brain is like a trail in the woods. The more you walk on a certain path, the more established it becomes. It's the same thing. I get obsessed about neuroplasticity. You're just going to rewire your brain correctly. You're creating the new path. And a lot of people skip this. And I think this step is absolutely critical. You have to grieve the fantasy. I've talked about this a lot on my show, is you have to grieve the idea. You're not staying for the relationship you actually have. You're staying for the relationship that you wish you had with the person that you wish they were. The potential you keep hoping will materialize. So I want you to write a goodbye letter, but not to the person. Listen to me. I want you to write it to the version of this relationship that only existed in your imagination. I want you to say goodbye to who you needed them to be. And then I want you to let yourself feel the loss of that dream, because until you mourn what never was, you can't walk away from what actually is. And there is practical work, writing down your non-negotiables for every relationship going forward. You get to choose, like, what behaviors are absolutely unacceptable. What treatment do you require to feel safe and valued? What would be the number one warning sign right now that you'll never ignore again? I know y'all had something to say there. Make this concrete, make it specific. You need to know your boundaries before you're in the heat of the moment, because if you don't decide them in advance, every situation becomes a negotiation, and bitch, you're going to lose. You're going to lose every time. And before you make any big moves, you're going to practice setting small boundaries with this new person. You're not going to respond immediately to messages. You're going to say no to one request. You're going to leave a conversation that's draining you. You're not going to engage in gossip. You're going to share less personal information. Track what happens to you when you do this. Like, notice other people's reactions. And more importantly, pay attention to your reaction. Most people are terrified that setting boundaries is going to cause some catastrophic consequence. The world is not going to implode. But if you just try to test this out in little small increments, it's going to prove that you can handle it and the world is not going to end. And you need an exit team. All right. And if you're listening to this and you're like, fuck, I need an exit team, Branden LaNette, mindset coach, hire me to be your exit team. Okay. Because I am going to be the person who is going to make sure you are safe. I will validate your reality. I'm not going to talk you out of leaving. And I've got open access on bevauzr. So when you start to panic, I'm right there. But you got to have a team of friends if you're not going to hire me seriously. Like, a girl gang that's going to keep you safe, and to keep you held accountable when it starts to get scary and you're trying to back out. It's easy. Just find the real friends that you can trust, the ones that bring you peace, and ask for that specific support. You need this because I know that toxic ass people, they will isolate you. And when you start reconnecting with healthy people, it reminds you of what real relationships actually feel like. They become your reality check when your brain tries to lie to you. And a lot of people freeze when it comes to like the actual separation. And you have options. If this relationship has been severely toxic with like manipulation or consistent harm, like, you need a clean break, right? One clear message: the relationship isn't healthy for me and I'm out. I won't be in contact going forward. Block, delete, remove, unfollow, remove all access, no negotiation, no explanation. If the solution is more complicated because of mutual connections or family dynamics, then do a slow fade where you decrease your availability. You can keep things polite but distant. But if there is genuine potential and this person has shown real willingness to change, you could try a boundary reset. Having this tough conversation, have a clear conversation about what needs to be different and what specific behavioral requirements you need. Set a time limit, see if anything actually changes, but you have to be honest about yourself about which category this falls into. I don't want you to choose the option that is going to let you avoid that discomfort if what you really need is a clean break. Honestly, whichever approach you choose, you just have to write out exactly what you're going to say. Write it out, practice it, remove any justifying, any arguing, any defending or explaining. Remove any apologies for having needs. Remove invitations for for them to debate you. I've realized this relationship isn't healthy for me and I need to step back. I wish you well. Don't call me bitch. Okay, maybe you don't have to say that. But it is that simple. You don't owe them a dissertation. You guys don't owe anybody shit, okay? You don't owe anybody closure. You owe yourself freedom. And when you actually do it, what happens next? And I want you to be prepared for this. Immediately after, you activate your exit team. Do something that's going to keep you grounded, like take the walk, get outside, get a workout in. Remind yourself why you did this by reading everything you documented. Okay, we kept notes. And the first 72 hours, that's when you're most likely to backslide. So your girl gang has to be on high alert. No contact, no checking your social media, nothing. And every time you get an urge to reach out, I want you to write it down, but don't act on it. Feel everything that's coming up. Don't react. Toxic relationships function neurochemically. I cannot explain that. It is like an addiction, it is science. And you are going to go through a withdrawal. Your brain is going to fuck with you so hard. It is going to tell you, bitch, it was not that bad. You overreacted. Send one text. And I'm telling you, you cannot trust your brain when you are going through a withdrawal. And you'll go through stages after this. And I just want you to expect them. And the first one is that moment of like relief, like, fuck yeah, I did this. I can't believe I actually did this. Then doubt creeps in. You're going to start questioning everything. Then you have a deep grief for what all these things you wanted that will never materialize. Then you're angry at yourself because why would you stay in that friendship for so long? Why would you be with that guy for so long? Then eventually you've got some acceptance, and then we're going to integrate all of that. Exits, you guys. These are exits. It's not a destination. You're not going back, you're going through. And while you're going through this, like, we need to fill the void intentionally because that relationship left a vacuum. And if you do not fill it with healthy things, like you're going to fill it unconsciously with another toxic person or old destructive habits, set up a 90-day plan. Set up a 90-day plan. I'm not trying to convince you to leave. Like, I can't want your freedom for you more than you do. But my job today is to hold the mirror up to the toxic bullshit so that you can see this clearly. My role today is to ask you the questions that you're avoiding, to validate your reality when you start doubting yourself and remind you of your worth because you're going to forget it. And I'll be with you in the back of your mind, celebrating every boundary you set, every step you take, every moment of courage. But I won't take part in your self-betrayal. I could be steady when the world feels chaotic, but at the end of the day, you have to be the one that does the work. And this is what I know for certain. You deserve a relationship that doesn't require armor. And on the other side of the pain that you're so afraid of is a version of yourself that you've been waiting for your whole life to meet. This isn't the end of the story. It's finally where your life gets real. That's it. And make sure God is your foundation. That's what the people miss the most. It's not about praying once, it's about surrendering. It's about staying disciplined in your relationship with him, staying obedient. Reestablish your identity, your real identity, not the one you've been performing, but like your identity and who you are through Christ. Who are you really? And it gets challenging, but protecting yourself is part of that calling. It's part of the calling. We were not told you're never allowed to leave a relationship. You're never allowed to break up a friend group. Just turn the other cheek. That's not what that really meant. His design for relationships, like he created you for connection, yes, but healthy connection. Connection that builds you up, that sharpens you, that reflects his love back to you. Iron sharpening iron. We are warned over and over about staying away from people who cause division, people who gossip, people who stir up conflict. Bad company corrupts good character. And God isn't asking you to maintain relationships that are destroying you. In fact, he's probably been telling you to leave for quite a long time, and this is the final sign for you. Like, you've been overriding his voice with obligation, with guilt, and with fear of what other people are going to think. Bring God with you on this. Help him help you find your identity. Those core beliefs, the core beliefs, one by one, let him iron those out for you. Continue to spend that time and start to treat yourself the way you've always wanted to be treated. That's it. During this, detox, it's going to be rough for a couple months. It's going to be rough for a couple of months. And I'm saying, like, putting this on God, like, you have to actually trust him and not just say you do, but like live like you do. And that means that no matter how scary this is, like, you're still going to pray instead of going back. And when you're lonely, you go to God instead of finding dysfunction to replace dysfunction. When you doubt yourself, you get clear with him. He did not create you to be someone's emotional punching bag or their audience for their bullshit and their chaos. That's the foundation, God at the center, and your identity of who you are as a child of the King. That's the truth you build on. His voice is that new compass for you. His strength is going to be what sustains yours when it runs out. He's made so many promises. Be obedient and read that. So, the question is now, are you ready to actually surrender this to God? Or are you going to keep one hand on the wheel? Because you can't do both. Either God's going to be your foundation, he's going to be your real consultant. Either you're trusting him with the outcome or you're just asking him to bless your own plans. And this is what I need you to understand as we close out, okay? Everything I just gave you, the steps, the framework, like, it all works, okay? It all works, but only if you do it. Not think about it, not plan to do it someday, like, actually do it starting today. I could give you the map, but you have to take the steps. And I know you're scared. I know you're worried about being alone. I know you're worried about what your other friends are going to think about whether you can actually do this. But here's the truth, like, you're stronger than you think you are, and you're not alone in this. God is with you. I'm with you. Listen, bitch, listeners are cheering you on. They're like, fuck yeah. And on the other side of this fear is the life that you've been praying for. There's peace, freedom, and imagine that version of yourself that's not constantly managing someone else's chaos. So I'm challenging you. If you're in a toxic relationship, or you have a toxic friendship, or if you're in any toxic relationship, family, spouse, husband, wife, sister, I don't give a shit. Don't leave this conversation and go back to business as usual. I went through a lot of shit to get this posted tonight, okay? So do me a favor. On top of sharing the show, I need you to actually do the fucking work. I don't want this to be another motivational moment that just fades by tomorrow. Make one decision right now. Just one. One that's going to move you toward freedom. Maybe it's starting that journal tonight. Maybe it's texting your exit team and telling them you need support. Maybe you're going to message Branden and be like, all right, bitch, coach me through this. Maybe you're going to write the first letter from your future self. Maybe it's getting on your knees and praying. Maybe you surrender. Pick one thing and do it. Do it. You didn't end up in this conversation by accident. You're not listening to me by accident. God orchestrates everything. He presses my heart. This moment orchestrated for you. Like, he's been trying to get your attention. And now my eyes are bloodshot bleeding because it's way past my bedtime. And I had to say this so that you could start walking towards the life he created for you. The life where you're not defined by toxic bullshit, where your worth isn't up for debate, where you have boundaries that protect your peace, where you're surrounded by people who actually love you, not the people that just need you. That life is waiting. But you have to choose it. And, like, bitch, you've been stuck long enough. You've been loyal to the wrong things long enough. You have been afraid long enough. Today is the day that changes. Not because I said so, but because you are ready. Like, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're over the bullshit. You are ready to trust God more than you fear the unknown. So go do that one thing. Take the one step. Tomorrow, you're going to take the next one. And that's how that works. One brave choice, one little step at a time, and let God lead the way. You've got this, and he's got you. So, bitch, go build the life that you deserve. And wish me luck for uploading this podcast. I'm so happy because if you're listening to me, it worked. And if you didn't hear this, then I'm going to be really depressed tomorrow. Okay? I guess that's how that works.